Beyond Weight Loss, How Healthy Eating Cuts Chronic Pain. The title sounds extremely simple, but when you think about it, it's loaded with potential biases. For example, maybe it was the weight that was responsible for a 50% drop in chronic pain, or actually a little bit more than that. Was it the restriction of calories that resulted in the reduction in chronic pain? Now, we're talking a mere 3 months. Not necessarily. What they found that the greatest factor in this reduction, this dramatic reduction of pain in a mere 3 month period of time was improving the quality of the diet. Not the body fat loss, not the caloric restriction, but actually eating pretty much the same way was done about a century ago. So what we have here is a really simple template. Let's look at it real fast. What actually happened in plain terms? They ate better food. That's it. 3 months. No exercise was added, so on and so forth, and no medication, pain supplements, or otherwise added to that. And it resulted in approximately a 50% reduction in chronic musculoskeletal pain, or basically pain, we'll just say for short. And it was quite phenomenal. To clear it up a little further, let's look at the breakthrough. And here we have it. What you may be eating may be doing more damage than you think. So a lot of the pain people may be experiencing without adding or any publisher bias could be actually the result of pain magnification per se, that maybe this added salt, sugar, ultra-processed foods, so on and so forth, is actually working in some aspect to magnify the pain. Now, by cleaning up the diet without adding painkillers or anything else like that, that cut in daily pain is quite substantial and quite helpful. So, the single biggest driver of diet quality improvement wasn't the new superfood, it was just cutting discretionary food and drink. The chronic pain basically scores went down from about 50% to 24%. That is going to help a lot of people just by, again, if it's future studies confirm, just by eating cleaner. And I'm not prescribing, or per se, I can't prescribe anyways, but actually not recommending anything else outside of eating cleaner. And for some people, that may be a little complicated. For the sake of simplicity, I always say if it existed about a century or more ago, you're pretty much okay. If obviously I'm just generally running off of time off the top of my head. All right, let's go into the study itself. Beyond Weight Loss, How Healthy Eating Cuts Chronic Pain. While weight loss helps many people, this study suggests that improving diet quality itself also eases the severity of people's pain. This is a very hopeful finding for people living with chronic pain. After 3 months, participants had not only improved the quality of the diet through the consumption of more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean meat alternatives, but also reduced their intake of discretionary foods, added sugar, added salt, so on and so forth, and alcohol. Specifically, they improved diet quality by 22%. Now, right off the bat, the diet quality was pretty poor. So we're not looking at a dramatic improvement overall. We're just talking a mere mild effort. Reduced chronic musculoskeletal pain from 50 to 24% and reported less pain severity and better pain-related quality of life. Most participants also lost around 7 kilograms of body weight. Importantly, in the participants presenting with pain, researchers found that despite the changes in weight, waist circumference and body fat improvements in pain severity were directly linked to their improved diet quality. What does that look like? Let's look. All right, so there you have it. This was the baseline pain status overall. A lot of back pain, a lower limb complaints, and of course, chronic musculoskeletal pain overall. The diet score right now, 49 out of 120 going in. That's what I'm trying to say. The diet was really not great going into the study. So we're not looking at dramatic improvement. We're not looking clean all the way through the day. We're just looking for just cleaning up just a little bit. And hopefully this major reduction in pain can help encourage going the rest of that way. And of course, that's 49 out of 120 is quite amazing. And as we look a little further into the diet, what does that look like? I put this up there so you get an idea what the discretionary the foods are per se. And you look at the high in saturated fats, added salt, added sugar, so on and so forth, and the reduction in alcohol, and what they added more into it as well. More vegetables and fruits, grains, dairy, protein, leans, meat, so on and so forth. Again, that's part of cleaning up the diet. I don't want anybody to possibly interject that maybe the confounding is other parts of the food that may be beneficial. That could play a role, but regardless of that, you're eating cleaner and you're eating the way we used to eat prior to this massive industrialization of our food system. And so as we go forward, look a little bit further into it, what are we looking at? This is the diet overall. So the biggest thing was basically the reduction in the food, which was not helpful. So you can see the added fruits and vegetables and the grains and so on and so forth is there, but nowhere near to the extent of that cut in discretionary food. And discretionary food, I'm talking food that's not necessarily needed for survival per se. We're talking comfort food, which obviously is not yielding the comfort that was promised. All right, now look at the body as far as overall. This is the body indicators. Body indicators. See the 22% improvement in the 22% improvement in diet quality was the best investment they made, because if you look at the chronic musculoskeletal pain reduction, it's the return on improving the quality of the food intake per se, or reduction of the poor quality consumption of poor quality food, yielded massive benefits in far as how a person feels in response or feels that pain. That is probably the best, easiest way and the healthiest way you can get back, a person can get back onto the feet and living life the way that it was intended. All right, let's get into more detail itself. This is kind of like the drier stuff, but it gives an idea of the confirmation of the quality of the study. And I go through a lot of studies, and a lot of studies aren't that good, or at least this good. All right, so looking at 104 people completed the diet over 3 months, lost an average of 7.1 kilograms, and the diet quality obviously improved, and there was a chronic prevalence of pain. Pretty solid drop. I keep on hearing me reiterate that over and over again, but it is a massively beneficial figure when you consider the number of individuals who are in pain, which even some can't even take medications per se because of the interactions. So what a better way to basically get a person back up and going again than reducing bad foods. All right, this validation vectors, again, we're not talking to guess, we're talking really good solid p-values across the board, all making that threshold for validity. Doesn't mean there can't be the confounding factors on there, but in the smallest sense, we know this trial is definitely going to open us up on the right path. All right, and then the energy math, we're looking at the caloric restriction, a part of the diet itself. There's your aspect alone, the diet quality raised, and confirmed diet alone, not exercise. Really positive for individuals that have a difficult time getting up because of pain. And think about it, by improving the quality of the diet, getting riddleized, a lot of the industrialized foods per se, is to reduce maybe pain just enough for people to get up and moving again, like they like to. All right, and then the measurement matrix, as far as there, again, validating as far as the results per se. You can glance through that as you like to. And of course, I have the infographics on clinicalnews.org, which cover far more than what I'm presenting to you, but for your respect of time. All right, just deconstructing the vital evidence. There you are. The adiposity, the measurements, the diet and weight improving, and of course, the unresolved questions. We need a placebo trial to basically help validate even more beyond the p-values which we're currently looking at. And of course, our glossary, if anything that I presented to you needs a little clarification, there you are on that. So think about it this way. We're not talking a new medication. We're not talking a supplement. We're not talking a drastic lifestyle change. We're really just basically trying to get a baseline once again where an individual can eat pretty much the way their ancestors did not so long ago, a couple of generations ago, before our food system became And so by doing this, they're getting the body into a baseline of nutrient intakes, which it recognizes per se, before the age of margarine and transfigured fats and everything else like that, tried to improve our life. Obviously, it didn't work out too well. Go back to basically the way things were before food became such a massive industry. Again, gratitude to the researchers to basically clearing up a little bit of the fog. Is the weight loss? Is the reduction in calories? In their words, pretty much it's the quality of the diet that makes the biggest difference. Gratitude. Thank you. I am humbled you watch and looking forward to you and I discover next week. Simple study with potentially dramatic outcomes. Catch you in a bit. Bye.